What's up, y'all? Alvin here, and today I'm going to answer the top 5 questions about fly fishing. All right, let's get into it.
I tell the good jokes.
Okay, number 1, is it hard? The short answer, no. Now, it does take a little bit of patience, and it definitely does take some practice. It's a little bit different from most other sports, definitely different from other types of fishing, but it's not hard. So was never great at sports as a kid. About the only thing I could do was distance running, which basically you just go and you don't stop. There's not a lot of skill, hand-eye coordination involved with it. And I have somehow or another managed to be really good at fly fishing and fly casting. So it's not hard, but it is a little bit different. So when you first get into it, it may seem hard, but once you practice, probably a good idea to get some instruction, or at least watch a couple of good videos, read a couple of good books on it, and practice. It is something that is a technique sport, and it does require practice. So the more you do it, the better you will become at it. The more you do it, the more fun you have, because it gets easier and easier as you continue to do it. But one of the nice things about it is you can always get better, so that keeps it from ever getting boring. But ultimately, it is not a hard sport to do. Number 2, what's different about fly fishing? And to make it really simple, the difference between fly fishing and every other type of fishing is the fact that with fly fishing, you're casting the weight of the line and not the weight of the lure. So with every other type of fishing, you have a weighted lure or a bait or something that's got some mass to it, and a weightless line. So you use your rod, you wind up, and you throw your lure, and the line just gets dragged along for the ride. Whereas with fly casting, the line is your weight, and the bait or your lure, your fly, is getting carried along for the ride. So one of the advantages of that weightless fly is that you can cast something that's really tiny, or something that doesn't make a big splash when it hits the water, possibly something that's a little bit more realistic. It doesn't have weight, so it maybe swims through the water in a more natural fashion. So the basic difference is just the fact that a fly typically is not weighted and a lure is weighted. With conventional fishing, you're casting the weight of the lure. Fly fishing, you're casting the weight of the line. Okay, number 3, do you have to have waders, and do you have to fish in a river? No and no. You can cast from the shore, you can cast from a boat, you can wade out into the river, the lake, the ocean, anywhere there's water with fish in it, you can probably get in and catch a fish on the fly. So everything from a small, dinky farm pond, a ditch on the side of the road, all the way to deep sea fishing out in the middle of the ocean. So fly fishing is not limited to where you can go, and you definitely don't have to have waders on every time you go fly fishing. Number 4, can you catch big fish on a fly rod? Of course, answer's yes. Some examples. So I've caught several 7-pound plus bass on a fly rod. I've watched somebody catch 100+ pound sailfish on a fly rod, and everything in between. I believe somebody has caught a 200-pound tarpon on a fly rod. I'm not sure. Pretty close if they haven't. So there's really no limitation on how big of a fish you can catch. Now, it is going to be more difficult to land a giant fish on the fly rod, because typically fly rods are going to be longer and you're going to be on the short end of the lever. So the fish has more leverage than the same fish with a shorter rod. that's one of the things that makes it a little bit more exciting, is that, you know, you're stacking the odds in the fish's favor. It's definitely going to be much, much harder to land a 200-pound sailfish or marlin on a fly rod, a 9-foot fly rod, than it will be to catch that same fish on a stubby, you know, 5 or 6 foot super stiff boat rod. But it can be done. Number 5. Okay, what fly do I use? How do I know what fly to use? Now, that is probably one of the most involved questions in the world of fly fishing, because there's a million flies out there. I need to do a comparison, but I would say that there's more flies and fly patterns than there are lures for conventional tackle, because the barrier to entry is so low. Anybody with a vise and a few materials can come up with their own unique fly. And that's one of the cool things about fly fishing, I think, is that it's really a lot of DIY capabilities there. So you can make a fly to match pretty much any bug that you're going to see on a trout stream. You can make a fly to match, you know, frogs and bait fish and stuff that you will see, you know, bass eating. You can make a fly to imitate a 12-inch long bait fish to catch a muskie or some type of offshore billfish. There's so many different flies, so many different fly patterns. But I personally think that if you decide you're going to fish for trout, you decide you're going to fish for bass, or you decide you're going to fish for saltwater fish, you know, like redfish or bonefish, you can probably, in most cases, have a half dozen patterns in maybe a couple of different sizes and colors, and go just about anywhere you want to go and catch fish. Or the flip side, you could have hundreds of flies for one particular species and match the food that those fish are eating to a T with your fly. It's really up to you. Just how involved do you want to get with it? So matching the hatch, tying on the right fly is I think one of the really cool things about fly fishing in general. It's just, you have so much variety. All right. Thanks for hanging in here today. Thanks for letting me answer these questions. Hopefully one of these questions helped you out. If you have more questions, please drop them in the comments. Occasionally I will do a question and answer video. So if you have a really specific, real personal question that you need the answer to, please ask below. If you made it this far, do me a favor. If you haven't, subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Hopefully I will see you in the next one. And in the meantime, good luck on the water.